I'm Andrew Miller and I'm a proud union member. I'm also an academic staff member at Flinders University and the current staff elected president of the Flinders branch of the National Tertiary Education Union. As a union, we stand up for each other against the cold, callous and corporate forces undermining our university and the very real injustices experienced by many of our members. Our rights to free speech and academic freedom are currently under threat. Management is doing everything it can to manage us into submission and to silence our views. The corporate university is a dangerous place for staff. According to the Flinders University Enterprise Agreement, all staff have the right to academic and intellectual freedom and the protection this provides. It says staff members have a right to 1. Issue critical and open inquiry, 2. Participate in public debates and express opinions about issues and ideas related to their academic and professional areas, 3. Participate in public debates about higher education issues as they affect their institution and higher education issues generally, 4. Participate in collegial processes within the university, and 5. Participate in professional and representative bodies. Importantly, it goes on to say that staff members have the right to express unpopular or controversial views without fear of harassment, intimidation or unfair treatment. This does not mean staff can harass, vilify or intimidate. These principles are consistent with the 1997 UNESCO recommendations for higher education. According to UNESCO, higher education teaching personnel should have the right and opportunity, without discrimination of any kind, to take part in the governing bodies and to criticise the functioning of higher education institutions, including their own. And they should also have the right to elect a majority of representatives to academic bodies within the higher education institution. At Flinders, this should mean that staff elect a majority of members to University Council and be free to critique management. UNESCO goes on to add, the principles of collegiality include academic freedom, shared responsibility, the policy of participation of all concerned in internal decision-making structures and practices, and the development of consultative mechanisms. Collegial decision-making should encompass decisions regarding the administration and determination of policies of higher education, curricula, research, the allocation of resources and other related activities in order to improve academic excellence and quality for the benefit of society at large. At Flinders, this should mean staff are genuinely involved in all aspects of decision-making to ensure the university lives up to its public obligations. Together, UNESCO recommendations make it very clear that academic freedom is not just an individual right, but a collective responsibility and a social good. Academic freedom ensures a robust and healthy university culture and a genuinely collaborative and collegial workplace. According to Judith Butler, academic freedom implies a right to free inquiry within the academic institution, but also an obligation to preserving the institution as a site where freedom of inquiry can and does take place, free of intervention and censorship. The university must therefore preserve academic freedom against its own authoritarian impulses. Clearly, academic freedom is the bedrock upon which a healthy university rests, and from which a safe and productive workplace grows. Without academic freedom, staff are defenceless, and the university lacks the critical capacity and intellectual rigour to fearlessly scrutinise itself. Academic freedom is thus a necessary check and balance in the system. Without it, and the university undermines its own integrity and central mission. To provide anything less than full academic freedom is to provide an unsafe and unjust workplace. Importantly, academic freedom is linked to job security. Only when staff feel secure and protected can they truly exercise their academic freedom and speak up in defence of themselves and others and the ideas they wish to advance or defend. Staff who have permanent jobs or tenured positions can speak out with confidence against opposing views, other scholars, media outlets, politicians, governments, corporations, university managements and direct supervisors. This protects democracy in the workplace and in society at large. So, while academic freedom protects staff from reprisals and sacking, it most importantly protects the very fabric and mission of the university itself. Only a fully democratic and open university can pursue its mission of free and open inquiry and passionate social debate. Negate academic freedom and you effectively kill the university. And this in turn collapses one of the central pillars of a robust democratic society. At Flinders, academic freedom has been undermined by 1. Reducing staff and student representation on University Council. Staff representation has been slashed from 4 to 2. This disenfranchises staff and students from contributing to the chief governing body of the university and having an active say. External stakeholders thus have more influence than internal stakeholders. 2. Subjugating staff and student input to the logic of the market. Benchmarks, KPIs, metrics, rankings and other neoliberal mechanisms now measure and control staff and student performance. Academic freedom is sacrificed to the audit culture. 3. Hollowing out consultation processes to inform staff rather than engage staff. Staff feedback is channeled through central filters to effectively hide critical commentary, silence debate and prevent reciprocal dialogue. 4. Sidelining staff input to the fringes of decision making and to what has already been decided. The inherent wisdom and creativity of staff is thereby negated. 5. Restricting research opportunities to those who attract profit or prestige. Researchers are thus prevented from free and open inquiry through coercive metrics and the lack of institutional support. Only research that attracts funding or profit appear valued and supported. This pushes non-profitable, unconventional or non-prestigious research to the fringes. Knowledge itself was once the primary currency of the university, not its popularity or profitability. 6. Not renewing contracts for casual staff who critique supervisors or who complain about the poor pay and conditions they receive. 7. Perpetuating change and uncertainty to keep staff silent and fearful. Endless restructures and change proposals mean staff are thrown into permanent insecurity, thus dividing them as they struggle to hold jobs or secure new ones. 8. Promoting authoritarian leadership and punitive cultures. This installs managers and supervisors who rule rather than lead and who dictate rather than negotiate. A punitive culture is thus fostered whereby many staff fear reprisals and punishments for daring to speak out. 9. Punishing and silencing dissenting staff. Through moral exclusion and structural violence, such staff are singled out and denied opportunities or even promotions. Such staff may then be penalised through invidious performance reviews, punishing workloads, lost opportunities or formal grievance charges, whereby they face allegations of misconduct for daring to exercise their academic freedom. This sends a clear message to all staff to shut up or get out. And 10. Thwarting and subduing collective actions and public displays of unity and dissent, such as peaceful protests or picket lines. Through fear, staff believe it is safer to not participate and not be seen. Sadly, these cruelties are happening in a 21st century university which prides itself on researching and exposing the very forms of violence and oppression it commits. This is where the gulf between management and staff appears most blatant and absurd. The very mechanisms of management and managerialism are counter to everything the university supposedly stands for. Through fear, many staff no longer feel safe standing up for themselves or others when facing persecution or exclusion. This creates a climate of silence and complicity, which further emboldens management to go further, deeper. As Desmond Tutu famously noted in 1984, if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. So, when the university defends its authoritarian managers, as it almost always does, it sides with oppression, thus further punishing staff. Likewise, when staff remain silent while colleagues are harmed, as they often do, they side with oppression, thus further harming their colleagues. Divided against themselves, staff thus weaken their own power and their collective access to justice and reform. It's a vicious cycle that permits injustices to flourish unchecked and unchallenged. This is cruelty writ large, as both the powerful and powered over inevitably enable the oppression to continue. Academic freedom is the only antidote we have to these toxic workplace practices. And speaking truth to power is the only way we can expose the corporate oppression and managerialist brutality taking over our university. When I first came to Flinders as an undergraduate in 1994, I thought it was the greatest place on earth. It was a vibrant, edgy, democratic and socially just university. People came first and debate was promoted. I fell in love with Flinders and felt right at home. Today, sadly, almost 25 years later, the corporate and authoritarian impulses sweeping through our university are tearing the heart and soul out of our people and culture. I now feel punished and under attack. That's why over 200 staff, students and alumni recently came together, despite their fears and anxieties, to reclaim the University Plaza and to put the heart back into Flinders, to remind our supposed leaders that people, not numbers, rule the world. It will be people, free, vocal and empowered people, who will bring the very success that our supervisors believe they can enforce through subjugation and control. Thankfully, union delegates from across South Australia stood in solidarity with Flinders staff, and our union friends at Adelaide University also stood with us. It's our university and we must defend it. I'm Andrew Miller and a proud union member. Together, let's defend academic freedom against the heartless corporate machine. If not for ourselves, then for the university we love.